Few people have the courage to say this out loud, but the truth is uncomfortable. If you are constantly being emotionally attacked, the problem may not be weakness, it may be purpose. While many go through life emotionally numb, the chosen ones feel everything deeply. Emotions at the surface, inner conflicts, a constant feeling of fighting battles inside. And here is the statement that breaks patterns. God does not spare the chosen of God from attacks. He prepares them through them. Maybe you see yourself here. The mind never shuts off, the heart feels heavy, and even when you're doing the right thing, it feels like something is always pulling you down. What no one told you is that these attacks are not meant to destroy you, but to force you into self-knowledge and emotional mastery. Those who learn to control themselves do not eliminate pain, but they stop being ruled by it. And that is exactly what you are going to understand today. Before we continue, I want to know, which emotional attack affects you the most right now? Comment below because your words may help someone who still doesn't know how to express this. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and stay until the end. Because what you're about to hear can completely change how you see your emotions, your feelings, and even your relationship with God. Some people wake up exhausted without having run a marathon, with a tight chest for no apparent reason, and still ask themselves, what's wrong with me? Well, maybe the problem isn't weakness, lack of faith, or emotional excess. Very often, those who are constantly emotionally attacked are actually in the process of awakening to something greater. The chosen ones, especially the chosen of God, rarely have a comfortable journey. They have a deep one. Notice how the attacks don't come from outside, but from within. Sabotaging thoughts, confusing feelings, emotions that seem out of control. That's where the trap lies. The battlefield is not physical, it's mental. And when the mind becomes the target, the invitation is clear: self-knowledge or stagnation. Those who don't learn to control themselves end up being dominated by their own feelings, even while holding sincere faith in God. And here's something few people talk about. The greater the calling, the subtler the attacks. It's not about knocking you down all at once. It's about slowly wearing you out, making you doubt yourself, feel out of place, emotionally drained. But stay calm. This discomfort didn't appear by accident. There is logic behind it, and it begins when the truth no one talks about comes to light. There is a comfortable lie many people repeat, that those who suffer emotionally are weak, unlucky, or spiritually distant. But reality, both harsh and liberating, is different. Chosen people, especially the chosen of God, are not spared from pain, they are trained by it. Emotional attacks don't come to destroy, they come to reveal what still needs to be strengthened inside. While some run from discomfort, the chosen are pushed inward. That's where true self-knowledge begins. Heightened emotions, confused feelings, internal crises. All of this works like a mirror. Those who learn to look into that mirror begin to understand that it's not about enduring more, but about learning to control themselves instead of being controlled by their emotions. And here's the contrast almost no one notices. Those without purpose anesthetize pain. Those with purpose are shaped by it. God does not waste suffering. Every emotional attack carries a hidden lesson, even when at first it only feels heavy. And it is precisely this difference between running away and going through that separates those who merely survive from those being prepared for something greater. Chosen people rarely recognize themselves as such in the beginning. Most of the time, they just feel like they don't fit in. There is above average emotional sensitivity, a heavy conscience, and an almost automatic difficulty pretending everything is fine when it isn't. The chosen of God feel too much, think too much, and demand too much of themselves. Not out of weakness, but because they perceive layers of reality that others simply ignore. This sensitivity usually comes with constant inner conflict. They want to do the right thing, even when it costs them. They feel guilty for saying no, feel uncomfortable in superficial environments, and often feel out of place even among familiar people. It's common for them to be emotionally attacked without understanding why, as if their heart were always one step ahead of their life. When this emotional intensity isn't understood, it becomes a burden. But when self-knowledge enters the picture, everything starts to make sense. Restlessness isn't a flaw, it's a signal. God doesn't call emotionally numb people. He calls those who feel, who question, who refuse to settle. The challenge is learning to control oneself so emotions don't command important decisions. And that's exactly where the silent question arises. Why do these attacks come from within, not from outside? If the goal were simply to hurt, the attack would be direct, visible, physical. But that's not how it works with the chosen. The real battlefield is the mind, because that's where decisions, fears, and invisible limits are born. Attacking emotions is far more effective than any external confrontation, because it makes a person doubt themselves, their worth, and even their relationship with God. The attacks come disguised as persistent thoughts. You're not good enough. You're already behind. Everyone else can do it, except you. Slowly, self-sabotage appears, exaggerated guilt, constant fear of making mistakes. Feelings turn into a prison. Emotionally attacked people begin fighting themselves, wasting energy where they should be strengthening themselves. And the most dangerous part is that they do it in silence. That's why self-knowledge becomes such a powerful weapon. When someone learns to control themselves, they begin to recognize the attack before it takes root. God does not allow the chosen to be destroyed externally, but He allows internal battles so emotional mastery can be developed. And once this awareness awakens, it becomes impossible not to notice the recurring types of attacks that show up in everyday life. One of the most common attacks on the chosen is unexplained exhaustion. It's not physical, it's emotional. The person sleeps, rests, yet wakes up feeling like they carried an invisible weight all night long. This weariness comes from constant internal struggle, misunderstood emotions, and a sense of responsibility that never seems to turn off. The chosen of God often carry more than they should, and almost never realize it. Another frequent attack is loneliness, even when surrounded by people. Shallow conversations drain energy, crowded environments exhaust the soul, and that strange feeling of not belonging appears. This makes many feel emotionally attacked, as if something were wrong with them. In truth, this discomfort is an invitation to self-knowledge. Not every distance is a loss. Sometimes it's protection. There's also the constant feeling of being behind in life. While others seem to move forward, the chosen feels stuck, even while growing internally. This creates doubt about self-worth and pressure to give up. Here lies a hard but liberating lesson. Those who learn to control themselves don't measure life by other people's pace. God works in depth before allowing speed. And when this understanding emerges, everything changes. Especially the realization that attacks intensify precisely when growth is happening. There is a pattern the chosen only notice after some time. Emotional attacks intensify exactly when something begins to change. When a person decides to break old habits, say no to what drains them, or move closer to their purpose, discomfort increases. It's not regression, it's resistance. No one tries to stop someone who isn't moving. The chosen of God disturb the system because they advance internally before advancing externally. Every evolution requires inner repositioning, and that stirs emotions, awakens old fears, and brings buried feelings to the surface. The attack appears as doubt, procrastination, guilt, and that sudden urge to quit. Emotionally attacked people often think they chose the wrong path, when in reality, they are crossing a strengthening zone. Here, self-knowledge becomes the compass that prevents getting lost in the process. Learning to control oneself at this stage is decisive. It's not about eliminating emotions, but about not obeying all of them. A simple example, when the urge to give up appears, instead of reacting impulsively, the person pauses, writes what they feel, prays, walks in silence, or steps away from negative stimuli. God doesn't rush processes. He sustains those who choose to continue. And it's right here that many make a silent mistake, one that costs dearly. In one of the most common mistakes among the chosen is believing they must handle everything alone. There's a silent belief that asking for help is weakness, when in truth it's awareness. The chosen of God are often strong on the outside but fight intense battles within, and many times due to emotional pride or excessive responsibility, they choose to silence their pain instead of facing it honestly. This silence comes at a high cost. Repressed emotions don't disappear, they accumulate. The feeling swallowed today becomes exhaustion tomorrow and later turns into mental confusion. Emotionally attacked people often normalize suffering as if living in internal war were part of who they are. But it isn't. Without self-knowledge, the person fights themselves instead of learning to understand themselves. Controlling oneself doesn't mean hardening the heart, it means recognizing limits. A practical example, choosing someone trustworthy to talk to, writing feelings before sleeping, or consuming content that strengthens the mind instead of numbing it. God doesn't require isolation, He requires truth. And when this mistake begins to be corrected, the next question naturally arises. How can one protect themselves emotionally without losing sensitivity? Emotional protection isn't about building armor and shutting down. The chosen weren't called to harden. They were called to position themselves. The first step is strengthening the mind, because emotions without direction become fertile ground for attacks. Emotionally attacked people need to understand that feeling isn't the problem. Not knowing what to do with those feelings is. And that only comes through self-knowledge. Another crucial point is filtering environments and people. Not every place deserves your energy, and not every conversation deserves your attention. The chosen of God wear themselves out trying to fit into spaces that don't respect them. A simple, practical example. Reduce time in draining environments, mute profiles that trigger excessive comparison, and create daily moments of silence. No phone, no noise, just organizing thoughts and emotions before God. And perhaps the hardest part, not negotiating principles to please others. When a person learns to control themselves, they understand that saying no is also an act of self-care. Emotions stabilize when there is coherence between what is felt and how one lives. God doesn't promise the absence of attacks, but He offers real strengthening. And when this protection begins to work, something changes inside. The attack stops being just a burden and starts gaining new meaning. When self-knowledge matures, something powerful happens. Emotional attacks stop being seen only as suffering and begin to be understood as signals. The chosen start to realize that not every discomfort is punishment and not every pain is loss. Often, what hurts is exactly what's being adjusted internally. The chosen of God are not broken. They are refined, layer by layer. What once felt like confusion turns into awareness. Emotions stop being enemies and become messengers. Emotionally attacked people discover that recurring feelings point to areas that need attention, strengthening, or a change in posture. For example, excessive guilt may indicate lack of boundaries. Constant fear, lack of trust in the process. Deep exhaustion, unnecessary emotional overload. When someone learns to control themselves, they don't eliminate the attack. They change how they read it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the right question appears, "What is this trying to teach me?" God does not waste pain. And when this shift happens, emotional relief appears. Not because everything is instantly resolved, but because clarity is born. And with clarity comes the courage to close a cycle the right way. After all this, it becomes hard to see attacks the same way. The chosen understand they are not broken, they are in process. Every intense emotion, every confusing feeling, every season of silence carries an invitation to self-knowledge. Emotionally attacked people are not lost. They are being called to a deeper level of awareness and alignment with God. When someone learns to control themselves, they stop being a prisoner of what they feel and start using emotions as direction, not as a cage. The chosen of God are not those who never fall, but those who learn to rise with greater clarity each time. And that changes everything. Pain stops being a lonely burden and becomes a point of connection with others facing similar battles. And now, the question that won't go away, and that you may have avoided until now. Which of these emotional attacks is affecting you the most today? Exhaustion? Loneliness? Doubt? Fear of failure? Speaking about it doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you. And when this awareness awakens, the next step already begins to take shape. Something that deserves to be explored further. Now that everything is clearer, the question is no longer, why is this happening to me? But what are you going to do with this understanding? The chosen are not defined by the attacks they suffer, but by the decisions they make when emotions tighten. Every difficult feeling is an invitation to self-knowledge. Every confusing phase is a chance to learn to control yourself instead of being controlled by your emotions. Look honestly at your routine. What are you allowing into your mind every day? What thoughts do you feed before sleeping? What environments do you keep frequenting even though they drain you? Emotionally attacked people begin to grow stronger when they stop living on autopilot and take responsibility for what they feel and what they cultivate within. God acts, but He acts in partnership with those who choose to change their posture. So I challenge you, which emotional attack can you no longer ignore? Exhaustion, guilt, loneliness, doubt about your worth? What will you do differently starting today? Write it in the comments. Turning pain into words is already a step toward healing. And if this content helped you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because here we talk about emotions, purpose, God, and real strengthening, not superficial motivation.